What's going on, everybody? You get the Raging Rob here. A lot of shit going on, man. I'm back in Arizona. So one of the first things I do when I get stopped for the night or whatever, I open my social media, open my Facebook, and what do I find? Great news! Great news. Oh my God. Can't believe it. The verdicts are in from the Bundy Ranch standoff, and they are not guilty. Four verdicts of not guilty from the Bundy Ranch standoff. This is great news. They were charged with pointing guns at federal agents, which I don't condone violence at all. Not at all. But I'm just glad that we live in a country where we can hold the government accountable for their actions when they're out of line. And that's exactly what happened. The government was out of line. The patriots took arms, and they held the government accountable, and they got away with it. That right there is freedom. That is not communism. That is not socialism. That is freedom. I'm glad that we have the Constitution that we have, where we're able to do that, hold the government accountable when they're out of line. So 4 not guilty verdicts today in the Bundy Ranch standoff, which happened back in 2014 up in Bunkerville, Nevada. If you're familiar with that, it was like 3 years ago. Basically what happened was, it was something about, I'm not exactly sure, it was grazing rights or whatever. Bundy, the guy up there, Cliven Bundy, he had his cattle. Some of his cattle was killed, by the way, by the government. I hope he sues the shit out of them. But he had his cattle that I guess was running on government land. But the thing I'm trying to understand is, we're taxpayers, okay? Now, I don't live in Nevada. I live in Arizona. I just moved back to Phoenix. So I'm an Arizona taxpayer. But anyway, the Nevada taxpayers, but I mean, that's federal land anyway. It was federal land. But if you're a citizen of the United States of America, you're a federal taxpayer. If you live in Nevada, you're a state taxpayer. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. But anyway, so that means, who's the federal government? Who's the government? We are. We're the government. That's the people's land. Now, I'm not saying you can do whatever you want on federal land, but that's our land. Just like when I drive down the interstate, that's my highway. I pay federal taxes so the construction workers can keep up the highway, so I can drive on it. That's my highway, right? Well, it's the same thing. He pays taxes. That's his land. And the federal government came involved, and here's the thing that they're not telling you. The fact that they're trying to get a Chinese, that they made the state of Nevada, and Harry Reid, the senator of Nevada, that crooked son of a bitch, made a deal with a Chinese solar company to bring in those big solar wind chimes, or whatever the fuck they are. You know those things that move around and make electricity, whatever, energy. Solar farm. Well, Harry Reid made a deal with the Chinese company to bring in a solar farm. So, the state of Nevada and these crooked taxpayers, I mean not taxpayers, these crooked sons of bitches in the government office in Nevada are raising the taxes on the ranchers and trying to make any regulation they can to kick the ranchers off of their property so they can take over the land to bring in the fucking solar farm. You get what I'm saying? Well, Cliven Bundy stood up to the fucking government. He said no. And they stood up and gave their middle finger to the government. And I guess the state of Nevada, they were asking for federal help. The federal government came in and tried to get involved, and they still stuck the middle fingers to the federal government. And that's when the patriots got involved with their guns. And you know one thing? This thing is going to go down in history that not one bullet was fired. Not one bullet was fired in this confrontation. Not one. This will go down in history books. But I'm sure the history books in school won't teach about it because they're to the point that they're run by the New World Order. They're run by they're run by liberals. They want to keep the kids a slave in the schools. They're not going to put this in history books. But this will go down in history regardless. That not one bullet was fired between the Patriots and the federal government. The federal government's out of line. The Patriots got involved. And they held the government accountable for your actions. It's right in the United States Constitution that when the government's out of line, you have a right to hold them accountable for their actions when they're out of line. That's called patriotism. If that's not patriotism, I don't know what is. Martin Luther King, for all those liberals out there praising Martin Luther King was a conservative. He was all about gun rights. He was all about holding the government accountable for their actions. That's why Martin Luther King got assassinated. That's why John F. Kennedy got assassinated. That's why they want to kill Donald Trump. Because they're afraid of people like us. They want to hold the government accountable for their actions. Justice has been served. 4 not guilty verdicts. I stand with my Bundy brothers. Especially the ones up in Oregon. They had that thing up at Burns, Oregon. I stand with them too. So, I caught another flag on another channel. 3 channels in one day I caught a flag on. I got 3 strikes today on 3 different channels. I now have 10 channels with strikes on them. I'm not going to say what channel it was, but I'm not going to be doing videos on that channel. So I'll be doing videos on this channel and a couple other channels that are strike free until the strikes fall off because somebody's striking my shit, flagging my shit. So there's one last thing I want to say, and this might spur a lot of controversy, and I don't care. I'm not going to take back what I said. But any hate from this will be blocked and reported. Anyway, and this is all I'm going to say. One last piece I want to say tonight before I rest my head on my pillow, and that is to the Big Bob Bowles Ben Bowling Alley up in Ritzville, Washington. I just found out that Bob's Sight passed away. I just found out like less than an hour ago. I'm saddened by his death, and I send my thoughts and prayers to the Sight family, and I send my thoughts and prayers to the bowling alley in Ritzville, Washington. May God be with you all, and God bless. I send my condolences. That's all I'm going to say on that matter, and I'm not going to take back what I said. But anyway, this is Raging Rob. More videos coming soon.